All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about a new piece of software today that says it's not just another browser with some AI slapped on top. Nope, this is supposed to be a total redesign of how we use the internet from the ground up. So the big question is Norton Neo really the future of browsing? Let's find out.
I mean, wow. That's a huge claim, isn't it? When you hear something like that, you kind of have to sit up and pay attention. The source for our explainer today is absolutely convinced this isn't just some small update, it's a massive shift. That sets a pretty high bar for what we're about to see.
Go on, be honest. Is your browser just a mess of tiny little icons that you can't even tell apart anymore? You search for something, you click a link, you open a tab, and then another one, and another, and pretty soon you're totally lost. It's this universal feeling of digital chaos that really sets the stage for why we might need a change.
So let's dig into that chaos a little bit. The main argument here is that the internet has gotten unbelievably complex. But the main tool we use to explore it, well, it really hasn't changed much at all. We're basically using a 20-year-old strategy to get around in a completely modern world.
And this just nails the problem, doesn't it? The basic action is exactly the same, but the sheer volume is just overwhelming today. We're practically drowning in information, constantly switching between apps, copying and pasting, trying to make sense of it all. It's just not efficient.
47. That's the number our source says is the average. Just think about that for a second. That's 47 different thoughts, 47 potential distractions, and 47 different places you could lose that one critical article you needed. You can feel how that system is just stretched to its breaking point. And that really sums up the frustration, right? We've got all this incredible technology at our fingertips, but our methods feel so primitive. We're manually juggling all this information in a way that just doesn't work anymore. So, what's the alternative?
Well, that brings us to the proposed solution. Again, not just another browser, but something built completely from scratch for AI. The whole idea is to shift from a browser being a passive tool to being an active partner while you're online.
So this is the key. It's not about just adding an AI chatbot in the corner. It's about rethinking the browser to be AI native. What that really means is that its most basic functions, like searching and organizing, are built to work with artificial intelligence from the start.
Okay, so let's get into the good stuff. How does an AI native browser actually fix those ancient problems of search overload and tab apocalypse? Let's look at the features. First up is something they call the magic box. Instead of just a search bar, think of it more like your personal command center. Our source tried asking it for the latest quantum computing news and to find cited CRISPR research papers. And in seconds, literally seconds, it came back with summarized answers with all the sources listed. That's stuff that would normally take hours of digging. Then there's this feature, Peek and Summary, and honestly, this is a total game changer. You know that moment when you pause before clicking a link, wondering if it's worth opening yet another tab? Well, with this, you just hover over it to get a preview, you can scroll through the content, even test out tools on the page, all without ever leaving the page you're on. Our source put it perfectly. You're literally browsing the web without browsing the web. Think about that. It saves an unbelievable amount of time and brain power. You're not just blindly opening a dozen tabs anymore hoping one of them is right. You're filtering information at lightning speed. And to deal with all that tab chaos, Neo gets rid of them and uses sessions instead. Just think of them as smart folders. So you're planning a trip to Italy. All your research, flights, hotels, restaurants, it all gets grouped into one Italy trip session. Working on a project for work, same deal. It remembers everything, so you never lose your spot. But it's not just about fixing old problems. This is where things get really interesting. Neo tries to be proactive. It wants to be an assistant that actually learns what you're interested in and helps you out before you even think to ask. So you get this whole suite of tools built right in. As you're typing an email, it'll suggest better ways to phrase things. It builds you a personalized feed of articles that's actually useful. And of course, because it's from Norton, you get top-notch security, ad blocking, the whole shebang to keep things fast and safe. Now, this is where that proactive stuff really clicks. The browser actually remembers what you care about. So if you were researching AI tools a few weeks ago and one of them gets a major update, boom, Neo tells you. You were looking at flights to Italy? If the price drops, you get an alert. It does all the tedious checking for you. And that's really the perfect way to think about it. It's like having a research assistant that's on the job 24/7. It keeps track of all your different projects and interests, and it brings you new information right when you need it. It stops being just a window to the web
and becomes your partner on it.
So after all that, the magic box, the sessions, the proactive help, we got to circle back to that big question from the beginning. Is all of this really adding up to the future of how we browse the web?
Well, the verdict from the source material is a pretty resounding yes. Let's describe it as a smarter, cleaner, and way more secure experience. And maybe the biggest kicker of all, it's completely free. No subscriptions, no hidden costs.
This right here might be the most powerful takeaway. The feeling of going back to a regular old browser after using Neo is compared to switching from a smartphone back to a flip phone. It just makes you realize how clunky and outdated our current tools actually feel once you've seen a better way.
And that really leaves us with this final thought to chew on. We've watched AI totally change writing and art and coding. It kind of seems inevitable that the most common tool we all use every single day, the browser, is next. So the question isn't if our browser becomes an AI partner, but what that partnership is going to look like.